Day 12, right? Day 12. My gosh, it's going quickly. Let's bring up what we're supposed to be doing. And let's get this thing going. Okay. I think the video is working pretty well. Let me know if it's skipping. It looks like it might be skipping a little bit. I don't want a repeat of what happened last week. That was a nightmare where we lost signal. But how's everyone doing? How's everyone in the chat? Let's everybody say hello. Slower start this morning, I think. But we had a pretty good day yesterday with the writing, talking about all the different types of ways we can incorporate dialogue around what's going on in the scene. So in this case, we have a restaurant scene, and we are using the fruits of we're using the fruit, we're using the dessert, we're using the main course as food for the dialogue, essentially. So we're going to continue that today. Hopefully we are going to finish chapter 1. We've gone into chapter 2, we've come back into chapter 1. But this is great. This is exactly what writing is like. You're constantly going back, and especially when you don't have a plot in the outset, which isn't a good or a bad thing, it's just how it is. If you don't have a plot, then these things are definitely going to always creep up. So today we are going to finish this scene. All right, that's this page that we've been working on yesterday. We're definitely going to finish it today. Okay, so hold me to that, guys, and let's get stuck into it. So we have right. There we go. My God, I thought, right. So tell me why I'm here. So our guy, he's finally asking, tell me why I'm here. Let's get on with this, right? And then Kuri Matsumoto finished her fugu, and placed her cutlery neatly on her empty plate. I have enough tanukis on my farm, Mr. Sharp, she said. What I need is a rabbit. And how about what I need? I said. I never knew a farmer who could grow that. So we're carrying on with that metaphor, the whole story that was, this whole Japanese parable about the tanuki and the farmer. So we're going to continue that. And let's go on. So she gave a signal to the kitchen, and the waiter came and removed our plates, replacing them with a black basket of what I thought were plums. These are my favorite, said Kuri, fingering the plump fruit. Ruby Romans are made in the region of Ishikawa. To make the grade, each one must be over 20 grams and at least 18% sugar. And that's only the regular class. The premium class, such as these, require each grape to be over 30 grams, and the entire first bunch must weigh at least 700. And that was just us using the research that I did to craft this dialogue and to make it pop, to make it something interesting, and to give us some subtext. But I think we can make this better. We'll read it through, but then I think we're going to make this, having had a day off, a day of reflection, we can definitely make this better. And there'll be a few tips here that I can immediately I know what to do. With just rereading that, I immediately know where things are going wrong, and that's why one of the most important things you can do is reread your stuff constantly over and over again, even while you're writing it. Reread it, and then things will become clear of how to improve. So, okay, so she says all that stuff, right? And then she's like, grapes, I said, astonished. He thought they were plums. These grapes are giant things. Kuri Matsumoto picked up one, and I stared silently as her red lips softly caressed the hard round ball a split second before her teeth pierced its flesh. She smiled at me as she swallowed. The soil is rich in Shinjuku. Again, that subtextual line there, we know what it means. And if you don't, you should have been watching yesterday. But we will go through it. Yeah, I thought, glancing back at the bodyguard who pulled the gun on me. But what's in the compost? How did you know I was in Japan? I know everything that goes on in my ward. And if, like the rabbit, you wish to become firm friends, I shall show you just how much that truly is. I should have run straight out of there, but like I said, I've never been one to make good decisions. Okay, I said. Wonderful, she said. And so the 18th captain of the Yakuza served me tea and told me all about her twin sister, the 7th captain of the Yakuza, whom she wanted me to kill. And right there, in a nutshell, is our plot. Okay, so we have that. We've already delivered that. And all we have to do now is follow through on the promise. So at least we know, for all that, struggling about in the dark yesterday and over the past couple of days even, we finally have a plot. And that's it. And that is right. That's summed up perfectly in that sentence. That's a really good sentence. But there's one problem with this sentence, guys. And if you've been following along for the past few days, since day one especially, where we went through all the rules of how we're going to write, what is the problem with that sentence? I'll give you a clue. It's not to do with the wording of it. It's to do with the location. All right. So she says that, and then Mizuki was always the black sheep of the family, said Kyori, always jealous of my relationship with our father, but I don't suppose you know what I'm talking about, do you, Mr. Sharp? I don't have a system, no, and how do a couple of 20-somethings become Yakuza captains anyway? My story is simple, she said, sipping her tea. My father died tragically. I ascended to captain in his place. I could have been wrong, but I was pretty sure I saw her smiling behind that teacup. Tragically, I thought. Right, that subtext of, we think that Kyori Matsumoto, she actually killed her father in order to become captain. And that's where we're building a backstory for our antagonist now. Naturally, this never sat well with Mizuki, continued Kori. Being the firstborn, she believed it was her birthright. But I showed aptitudes more conducive to leadership. Now it seems Mizuki has managed to convince our superiors of her worth. 10 months ago, she ascended to captain of the Koto ward. Remember, Tokyo is split up into 23 different wards. This was all in the research. And each Yakuza captain, I'm going to have it as each Yakuza captain is in control of one ward. Okay? So this is a squabble between sisters. Be careful, Mr. Sharp. Mizuki is not one to be trifled with, and nor am I. She seeks, revenge against me because she believes, Mizuki killed her father. Blah blah blah. And then we said, okay, and this is how the day should end today. Curie explains how Sharp could go about attacking Mizuki's territory and sketches out a plan. If you get caught in Koto, there's nothing I can do for you. And then we end chapter 1 there. Whoa. Okay. And we end chapter 1 there. So, reading that back through, needs work. Did you guys figure out what's wrong with this sentence yet? This one? So, a couple of ideas, but it's obvious. Yes, there we go. There's the answer. The answer is it's in the wrong place, and it should be the last sentence of this page. If you remember, we said throughout this book, we're writing one page at a time, one page per day. Okay, we didn't stick to that yesterday, let's be honest. But in general, we're trying to write one page a day, a very achievable goal, and every page needs to be compelling. And every page needs to force the reader to turn that page and go on to the next page. And we do that by having a very compelling last line on the page. Okay? So this line is a really, really good line. It's the whole plot in a nutshell. Right? In one line we tell the reader what the plot is. But this line should be at the end. This line should be here. Okay? So let's work with that, right? Let's say, right, this page needs to be set up like this. Okay, that's the first thing. Next, let's go back here, and this is good, but there's a little bit, there's too much information here. It's good to do research, and we found these really incredible, grapes, and, this Yakuza captain, by the way that she is serving these expensive foods, we had the fugu, right? We had the puffer fish, the very expensive fish that chefs have to be trained with, right? That was the main course. The chefs have to go through training for many years before they can even serve it. The whole point of that is just to show the abundance of wealth that this Yakuza captain has, okay? And while it's good to have all that research done, we don't need to overpower the reader with information. So let's start shaping this up, shall we? So at this point in the novel, we are trying to deepen our understanding of the characters that we have. So we want to develop the characters. So an easy way of doing that is, let's talk about their family. So instead of, these are my favorites, said Curie, fingering the plump fruit. Let's imagine that there's a story behind why she likes this why she likes these fruits, why she likes these giant grapes which sell for $110 each grape. Can you believe that? But apparently that's the thing, these ruby Roman grapes. Okay, so let's say something like this, father took me, so Ishikawa is the place where these ruby Romans are produced. Okay, we found that out yesterday. So father took me to Ishikawa. Now, if Kyori Matsumoto did kill her father in order to become captain of the Yakuza, then obviously her father was captain before her, and therefore a very influential person. So I'm thinking maybe he was one of the benefactors, he was one of the people who helped to produce this fruit. It could be something like that. So let's imagine when Kyori was a little girl, father took me, to Ishikawa, to harvest, the first vintage. These fruits, I think we saw in the research, these grapes were made in 2006, I think, was the vintage. And if Kyori Matsumoto is about 26, 27, I think, in this, she's a young girl, we've already said that, she's young, so she would have been about, 13 to 15 when her father took her for the first vintage, so she'll remember it quite well. Yeah, and all this is doing is showing that this is a real person. This is not just a stock character, right? This is one of our main characters in the novel. So we need to give her a full backstory. We need to make it all come alive. So, and it's going to make it all the more powerful that she actually killed her father, who essentially doted on her, who was very good to her. We want to make that, we want to pull on those strings. So father took me to Ishikawa to harvest the first vintage, and she likes it so, and I've never missed one since, right? And I've never missed one since. So that's the reason, maybe why she likes them so much. These are my favorites. It's that nostalgia coming back. I still remember the taste, or I still remember. Let's build on the father. How his father, how his, his eyes used to light up. No, how his eyes lit up maybe is better. You don't need the extra words. How his eyes lit up when he talked about. So let's say the incredible new fruit that he helped to produce. Okay, so these have a sentimental value to her family. These aren't just regular grapes. They're expensive stuff, but there's some sentimental value there. Just building. We're just trying to develop a character here that he helped to produce. And this dialogue has a point. Remember, the point of all of this abundance is because our guy has asked. He's like, how about what I need, right? You want me to do a job for you, but how do I know you can pay me? How do I know I'm going to get what I want out of this? And obviously our Kyori Matsumoto, the 18th captain of the Yakuza, who doesn't talk in straight sentences, only talks in parables, she is not going to say, yeah, I've got what you want. She's going to say, these fruits, from my past, are delicious, and I have such an abundance of wealth. And she's going through a whole story, a whole procession again. Just in order to say, yeah, don't worry, I can pay you, I'm rich. But she doesn't say I'm rich, she alludes to it with her excessive, with her verbiosity, right? That's who she is. She's loquacious, and that's who her character is. So we're staying true to that. Still remember how his eyes lit up when he talked about the incredible new fruit that he helped to produce. Something like that, okay. And now what is the fruits of our labor. I'm trying to give him a saying, like maybe the father always had a saying something like, the fruits of our labor, because we're dealing with fruit. So he was a hardworking guy, maybe. So it should be something like the fruits of our labor. And it's got to be something very, I've got to be careful here, but something very Japanesey, something very what's the right way of saying this? Something very fortune cookie like. Okay, that's Chinese, so no. What's the word I'm looking for? Just something like very from the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, something very art of war is what we're looking for. The fruits of our labor are sweetened, by the sweat of our brow. It's not bad, actually. Right? Meaning, that's not bad, actually. That's pretty good, no? I'm quite happy with that. The fruits of our labor are sweetened by the sweat of our... Probably someone's already said that before, I bet. I've probably read that somewhere. It's in the back. Or maybe I haven't. Maybe that's just a good line. Let's italicize that. The fruits of our labor are sweetened by the sweat of our brow, he used to say. Meaning he was a hard worker. Okay, he was a mob boss. He's part of the Japanese mob, but nevertheless, he's a... When it comes to business, he puts his head down, he gets on with things. There's a responsibility there, and that's what he was trying to instill in his daughter. So the fruits of our labor are sweetened by the sweat of our brow, he used to say. I like that. Okay, to make the grade, each one must be over 20 grams and at least 18% sugar. Okay, so these things are very sweet, actually, so let's use that. Oh, we need to actually say the name. We deleted the name. So something like, and the Ruby Roman, what are these? Ruby Roman grapes, right? Sweet indeed. So, okay, a lot of people asked me, I've had this question a few times in the chat, is that, sometimes it's, I don't know if I agree with this completely, but some people saying, my dialogue can flow quite nicely sometimes. How do you make your dialogue flow nicely? And the simple answer is, and this goes for the whole story, we've talked about this before, is that one sentence follows the next. Meaning that if you want to know what this sentence has got to be, look back to the previous sentence, pick out something in that sentence, and then develop it further. So, for instance, here we have, the fruits of our labor are sweetened by the sweat of our brow. Let's use that word sweet as a link, in the next sentence. And the Ruby Roman grapes are sweet indeed, right? I said sweet in that sentence, here, and now I'm going to say it here, and now we take something of this sentence and we put it into the next sentence. So, now we develop the sweetness yet again. How sweet are they? Right? So every sentence is a logical progression from the one before. I hope that makes sense. I hope that sort of answers that question. It's a hard one, but that's the simplest way I can put it. It's as simple as writing one sentence, and then whatever you said in that sentence, take a part of it and develop it, and that becomes the next sentence. And you do that ad infinitum, and you have a book, you have a novel. We said that on day one. All you're doing is you write a compelling first sentence, and then do the same thing. What's the next sentence after that? That's it. Just develop it, keep going, and you end up with a story. Hopefully, you always end up with a story. Might not be very good, but you do end up with a story. Think positive, right? And the Ruby Roman grapes are sweet indeed. So let's just say, each grape And now let's give a bit of that research. So, you know, this whole thing seems more realistic, more plausible. It seems like there's a greater weight to what the characters are saying. Each grape. We talked about these to be verbs. If you can get rid of the to be verbs, editors will love you because it's less work for them. The first thing the editors do so many times in my work, they just cross out all these to be verbs. You know, I was standing. Just say I stood, right? Delete the to be verbs. So each grape. So instead of here must be over 20 grams, let's just say it weighs. Each grape, right, weighs over 20 grams, and is at least 18% sugar. Okay, we might not be able to get rid of that to be verb, but hey, that's already better, right? Each grape weighs over 20 grams and is at least 18% sugar, and that's only the regular class of grapes, like the basic. You know, you've got your you've got your supermarket basic grapes, and then you've got the the special branded grapes, right, which are that next level up. That's basically what we're talking about here, and that's only the regular class. The premium class, such as these, require each grape to be over 30 grams, and the entire first bunch must weigh at least 700. I think we can just delete that. Right, and the premium class, so these are really big grapes, right? These are huge, right? He thought they would look like plums, and they're also very, very sweet. So obviously the bigger the grape, the more sugar is going to be in that grape, the sweeter it's going to be to the taste. Okay, now our guy, you know, he thought they were plums, so his reaction makes sense. You know, grapes? I said he's looking back like, what? These are grapes? I said astonished. I don't know if we need the that little help of astonished, but we'll keep it for now. That might well be a line that a word that an editor just immediately chops. But whatever. Okay. Okay, so then Kyori Matsumoto, she picked up one. I don't like that. She picked up one. No, she plucked one, right? Because these are in a bunch, right? They're grapes. So she plucked one from the heavy bunch. Holding it on her flat palm, you know, as she examined its perfection, I guess. Again, this character, this Kyori Matsumoto, she's in her own world almost, right? You know, she's very regal is the word. She's very regal. She's a Yakuza captain, and, you know, she thinks she's above all the commoners. And to a certain extent, you know, she kind of is. But, you know, she doesn't answer a question, you know, with a direct answer. She talks about the things which she finds interesting, the higher class things, the history of Japan, the folklores, the wonderful fruits that she's helped to develop. That this is her character, and it's so important that we stick to that, and that you always stick to who your characters are. So while you might want the story to move faster, the characters dictate, you know, what must happen. So you've got to follow the characters. So so she holds it on a flat palm. She examined its perfection, right? And this thing is like a giant thing in her palm. You know, she's a 27-year-old woman, and, you know, she's not going to have huge hands, I assume. So, okay. I said silently as her red lips softly caressed the hard, round ball a split second before her teeth pierced its flesh. And we said yesterday that's quite nice because it's the, you know, she has these very sexy lips, we said. And, you know, she sort of plays with the food a little bit and then gets the bite in. And that's sort of an allusion to the way that she's going to be potentially treating our protagonist, Mr. Sharp. you know, she's being very nice to him at the moment, but what's going to happen further down the line? So, okay, maybe we can just add here. We also said we want this to be, there should be a little bit of a sexual dynamic between them too. We might not use it, we might not actually play on it, but the more conflict and tension and all that kind of stuff that can go on between the characters is going to be the money, right? That's what we want to read. So, okay, these grapes are big grapes, they're juicy grapes. So maybe when she bites in, you know, you've got the juice coming down the chin. Let's see. I don't think it's going to squirt out, but, you know, a trickle of juice ran down her chin. Ran down her chin. As she swallowed. You know, there's a few words in there which are somewhat suggestive, let's say. And then she delivers that line. Yeah, I think that's better. Just adding that little bit of a trickle of juice ran down her chin, and she smiled at me as she swallowed, right? The soil is rich in... maybe it just needs so you see Mr. Sharp. So now she's sort of getting to the point of why she said that whole story. Okay, so let me just make this clear to everyone. Yeah, let's just make this clear again. So she first offers him the job, right? What I need is a rabbit, okay? And he says, all right, fine. But how do I know you can pay me, right? He wants something very specific. How do I know you can pay me? And what she says is, look at this fruit, right? This fruit that my father helped to make and is one of the most expensive fruits and rare fruits in all of the world. It's juicy, it's luscious. I have an abundance of wealth, as you can see. And you're asking me if I can pay you? You're damn right I can pay you. Right? That's what she's saying, but it's all in the subtext. And that's what makes it, that's what we're trying to do. Okay, now, right, let's just keep that last line here. So actually, okay, this is great, right? So we've edited this little bit here, and already that's put us closer to this, you know, to filling in the space between where we are and where the last line on this page needs to be. Okay? So let's carry on. Each grape to be over 30 grams, right? Grapes, I said, yeah. Trickle of juice runs down the chin. So you see, Mr. Sharp, the soil is rich in... This might be better. The soil is rich in Shinjuku. The soil is rich in Japan. I'm not sure. Okay, and then our guy, he has this, you know, witty comment. Yeah, I thought, glancing back at the bodyguard who pulled the gun on me, but what's in the compost? I.e., yeah, you know, we're sticking with this whole farmer and parable that's been the start of this conversation. He's like, yeah, okay. So you're a farmer, you've got a wealthy abundance of crops. It's wealthy. It's a wealthy country, and maybe you can pay me, but, you know, maybe you're going to double cross me. Maybe you've got, you know, a ton of bodies. Well, you definitely do have a ton of bodies underground that you've guys that you've killed. So, you know, I've got to consider that. So that's going on in his head. We're in the mind of the character, and this is how he reacts. So he says, how did you know I was in Japan? I know everything that goes on in my ward. Makes sense because she's a Yakuza captain. And if, like the rabbit, you wish to become firm friends, I'll show you just how much that truly is. This, I think, is overstating the point. Because this line is really just saying, I have a lot of stuff, right? I have an abundance of wealth. But we've already done that. We've already done that back here. We literally just did that. So I'm going to delete that. So how did you know I was in Japan? I know everything. Okay. How do you know what I'm looking for? These were the questions that we had back on day 2 even, right? if we look back, when he receives the message from the Yakuza captain, it was, I know why you're here, Mr. Sharp. I know what you're looking for. Those two things he was very, very worried about. Tallulah Channel. Hey, I'm about to go to bed, but I wanted to lurk for support. Thank you. Your support is very much appreciated. Always good to have at least one person watching. But yeah, go to bed. Have a great night. And, you know, let me know of times that suit you better, because people are, people have been asking, can we change the time of the stream? So I'll do my best. Right, so we've got, what was I saying? Yeah, so he has these two questions, so which still haven't been answered. So, and our guy is a straight talker. He is a straight talker. So he's just going to flat out ask these questions now. You know, how do you know what I'm looking for? The problem for us, obviously, is we don't know. We don't know the answers to these questions because we're making up the story as we go. So let's just, for everyone tuning in, let's just reread what we've done, where we are, because I think it is starting to come together quite nicely now. So to the channel saying regular works. Okay, you're on a regular work schedule, but an off sleeping schedule. I know what that's like. Yeah, let's all get some right. Look, the even 10 minutes of writing is, you know, is better than nothing. In fact, what was her name? Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood. You know who Margaret Atwood is? She has a masterclass. She says she does her best writing, you know, or maybe it's Joyce Carol Oates. One of the two. They say do it in 10-minute chunks. You know, it's the writing that you do when you're pressed for time is usually the best, because you don't edit it. You just sort of do it because you have to. So take that as a positive. And yeah, let's reread this in. So we had the whole story of the tanuki and the rabbit. We won't reread that again. But basically, here we go. Tell me why I'm here. Kyori Matsumoto finished her fugu and placed the cutlery neatly on her empty plate. I have enough tanukis on my farm, Mr. Sharp, she said. What I need is a rabbit. And how about what I need? I said. I never knew a farmer who could grow that. She gave a signal to the kitchen and the waiter came and removed our plates, replacing them with a black basket of what I thought were plums. These are my favourites, said Kyori, fingering the plump fruit. Father took me to Ishikawa to harvest the first vintage, and I've never missed one since. I still remember how his eyes lit up when he talked about the incredible new fruit that he'd helped to produce. The fruits of our labour are sweetened by the sweat of our brow, he used to say. And what? I like that line. Tallulah Channel. What do you think about that line? That's a pretty good line, no? The fruits of our labour are sweetened by the sweat of our brow, he used to say. And the Ruby Roman grapes are sweet indeed. Each grape weighs over 20 grams and is at least 18% sugar. And that's only the regular class. The premium class, such as these, require each grape to be over 30 grams. Grapes, I said, astonished. Kyori Matsumoto plucked one from the heavy bunch, holding it on a flat palm as she examined its perfection. I stared silently as her red lips softly caressed the hard round ball a split second before her teeth pierced its flesh. A trickle of juice ran down her chin and she smiled at me as she swallowed. So you see, Mr. Sharp, the soil is rich in Shinjuku. Yeah, I thought, glancing back at the bodyguard who'd pulled the gun on me. But what's in the compost? How did you know I was in Japan? I know everything that goes on in my ward. How do you know what I'm looking for? And then it's got to be some line there that convinces him, she's got to say something that convinces him, oh crap, this woman actually really does know why I'm here and has confirmed everything. Me not knowing a thing about these characters, one of them sounds like that one character that's a sarcastic a-hole for no reason. Yeah, pretty much spot on. So we have our loquacious antagonist, the what do you call it? the 18th captain of the Yakuza. You know, she's delivering all these long and very loquacious monologues, essentially, just to answer tiny questions, because she's that kind of character. And then we have our guy, our protagonist, who is definitely a sarcastic guy, who has that sort of acid tongue and has a problem with women, as we have found out in the earlier pages. So if that's coming through, hopefully that sounds like a good thing. So I don't quite know what this what does this line have? This has to be, she's just going to say something here that relates to thank you, I like it too so far. Good to hear, Tallulah channel, thank you for the vote of confidence. So how do you know what I'm looking for? That should be a question mark. My goodness. Let's get that in. All right, Tallulah channel. Also, what are you writing? Let us know. All right, so let's just put this in brackets. Comment that convinces Sharp she has. This is a good idea. Whatever. You can stop. He'll get paid. He'll get paid. Something like that. Okay. I'll come back to that maybe at the end of this session. We can just let's finish the page because that's always the first part. Where did our last line go? Okay. So we only have like 3 lines before we need to. What am I not writing? That's an easier question. Yeah. I know the feeling. Now, is that because you are? Is that because you kind of are not, happy with one thing and then you start writing something else? Because I know I do that. It's one of the good things about this stream. Hello, Tau Matrixter. Am I saying that right? Tau Matrixter. First time chatter. So great to have you here. Hopefully another writer, or at least someone who's interested in stories. Oh yeah, I got it on the money. Nice. Great to have everyone here. Let me just get chatting as well and say hello, everyone. You know, just because I think that might help me get up to those 50 followers, etc. 50 followers and whatever the other targets are that you're supposed to hit for a stream. Okay, so what are we doing here? Yeah, I'm working on a hexology. Tower Matrix is now followed. Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate that. It's great to have more people coming into this community. Oh, I like that. Right now I'm split. Tallulah channel says, right now I'm split between a Black Panther fan fiction for a writing contest where I turn my favorite character into a toddler. Love it. I'm working on part 1 of a fiction series about 2 best friends that I'm hoping to send to an editor, and my novel that combines the laws of X-Men and Mean Girls. Okay, the last one is the best one, in my opinion. That's where number of editors have told me, and this just everyone knows this anyway, but they go, you can't. No, if you can't pitch your idea in 1 sentence or very, very quickly and see the entire movie, then it needs work. Okay, but that one, think about it. X-Men crossed with Mean Girls. That is, I can see the entire thing, right? We know what Mean Girls was like. We know the film. And we know what X-Men is like. So you can imagine the carnage that could result out of the film. You can just see the entire film. I like that. I like that one. That's good. Yeah. By all means, tell us more. Come into the chat, tell us more. Let's, everyone here is supposed to be helping each other. So you guys, chip into my work and I will chip in and try and help yours. Yeah, see, I think Tower Matrix gets it. We get that premise very easily. Mean Girls crossed with X-Men. Brilliant. brilliant. Why hasn't anyone done it before? That's the question. I would watch that film. I would read that book. It sounds more like a film, though, if I'm honest. That sounds like a screenplay. Lots of, and that could go either way. That could be like a very like Carrie sort of film, or that could be a very like slapstick kind of a film. Either way, it could go either way, I think. But hey, let's see it. Let's see it. Maybe we could do an hour on this stream where people send in what they're working on, and we can all sort of have it up on the big screen, and we can go through it, and we can all pitch ideas, maybe help each other out. Scary thing to do, I know, but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get better, and if we can all help each other, why not? All right, so where am I here? What am I doing? Thanks, guys, for the distraction there. Okay. I should have run straight out of there, but like I said, I never want to make good decisions. Okay, I said. So that line seems to go a little bit closer to this line. Okay. And let's, okay. So what I want to do here, so I clench my jaw. We'd already said previously that this antagonist, she has a very good poker face, right? So let's build on that. Our guy's sitting there. He's got a problem with women. He's been summoned like a dog to this meeting, basically out of sheer fear that someone is onto him, and what he's doing in Japan. And now he's been offered a job. He's on the back foot, right? And he doesn't like it. So he's internally now, he must be thinking, what the hell is wrong with you, Sharp? What the hell is wrong with you? You can't read this. He's going to be angry. He's going to be angry with himself. So we are, we're going to, we need to see that. The only difference between a screenplay and a novel is that in a screenplay has all the internal dynamics removed, right? So we don't get to hear what the characters are saying. And actually, that's one way I know at least one writer who, when they're writing a novel, the first thing they do is they write a screenplay, and then because it's so much easier to write a screenplay, it's just the dialogue plus the location, basically, right? And the action. You write that, and then you just put in okay, well, this character is probably thinking this here and this, and then hey presto, you have a novel. You can also do it the opposite way. If you want to turn your novel into a screenplay, just go through it and delete any internal anything that goes on in the head of the character. Just delete it. Hey presto, you've got a screenplay, pretty much. One person I know is about to say, "Oh no, that's not how you write a screenplay." But come on, guys, give me a break. I'm just simplifying it. To the channel, the novel takes place at a mutant academy, right, with a classist and kind of racist faction system. New student Tasha Davis, a hydrokinetic, controls water with the mind, right? Enters because her father is missing. Won't be found till book 3. Wow. Okay, here we have. This is a okay. This is sounding pretty good actually to the channel. Hydrokinetic enters because her father is missing. Won't be found till book 3, and she is befriended by the literal ice queen of the head faction. Her roommate Lauren, a telekinetic telepathic that underwent a what accident? A deed? Is that a spelling mistake, or am I just not as good an author as I think I am? Because I don't understand what that word is. Accident. Tried to warn her about the ice cream, but Tasha doesn't listen. Okay, right, obviously, right. So we have one character arc, learning to trust oneself, and listen to wise counsel. We have this idea of the father is missing, won't be found till book 3. So clearly, Tululu Channel is a plotter and not a pantser like me. So that's great. We have a mix of personalities here. Sounds interesting. That's all I can say. Let's, if you've got the first page, send it in. Let's read it. Because again, as good as the plot, okay, even every editor will say, okay, that's a good story. Can you grip me from the beginning? Carrie scene, right? Tasha and Lauren team up with Carson. You are a pantser to the channel. By the way, anyone who doesn't know what a pantser or a plotter is someone who writes out, plots the entire book or screenplay or film, whatever, and then only then begins writing it. What we might call, architects. They're more of the architect of the writing world, and essentially they're a lot saner than people like us, the pantsers, who just write one sentence and see what comes next, and hopefully by the end of it you have a novel. Yeah. Okay. So Tallulah Channel, have you ever read this book? Save the Cat Writes a Novel, right? The classic. This is a classic one that was built off Blake Snyder's Save the Cat for films. So one is, those two books are really good. They just, if you can stick to the 15 beats, then you will definitely have a plot. Whether there are any rules to writing, I would question that. But that book in particular is a really good book. Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. Certainly it helped me to think about, how to progress a plot in the right way. And even reading my first book, that one, Hearing Voices, when that came out, and that was, and that had the success that it had, that was, that seemed to follow all those 15 points. I'd never read the book, but it seemed to follow those 15 points, and so I think there is merit in what that book is saying. So, something to look at. Everyone is learning to. I'm learning to plot now, kind of, but just doing it on the fly. So, all right, let's get. Yeah, I've never done the nanny mono. I've never done that writing sprint, 50,000 words. Ken Follett, the author, you should see his outlines. They are massive. So, I take it you mean that your outlines are quite messy and big. But you know what? Stephen King is a pantser. So, we have at least one pantser who's a pretty good author, we've got to admit. Okay, wait, let me get back. Let me just do, let me write one more sentence there. What was I saying? Right, yeah, we just want to build on that thing that he's angry with himself. I couldn't believe how poorly I could read her face, right? Yeah, guys, by all means, send in whatever you've got. If you're writing something, let's all look at it, and let's try and help each other. Surely, right. Yeah, where's the mouse gone? Why is this? Okay, here we go. Right, so surely this is just all the stuff internally. Just give me 1 second, guys, if you're on the chat. I'm just gonna write a little bit. Surely she couldn't have known what I was looking for. She hadn't even, named it explicitly. Oh, and then we could, yeah, okay, then again, I don't suppose you would if you knew what it was. Something like that. Now we can say the either way. Now let's bring that back. Either way, I should have run straight out of there, but no, that goes like this. I said, no one's right. Okay, I said, wonderful, she said. And so the 18th captain of the Yakuza served me tea and told me all about a twin sister, the 7th captain of the Yakuza, whom she wanted me to kill. That's the good last line for the page. And that will, I think, if I read that line, I would want to know more. I would want to go on to the next page, onto page 8. So the only thing I really have to figure out before this page is finished is what this line is going to be, and then we're done. Okay, let me just check the chat. What's going on? Oh, to the channel. How can I send it? Well, you can either put it into. Depends how long it is. If it really is a huge outline, then can you whisper it to me? I don't know. Can you do it in the whisper section? If it's a short one, just shove it in the chat, and then I'll cut, paste, and put it on the screen, and then we can have a look. Oh, Tower Matrixter is a Panzer too. Great. So we're all Panzers, and we all have we all just sort of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. How many novels have you guys written before? This is my 4th. So what about you guys? Let me know. Okay. So talking about before, can you sum up your plot in one line? You know, we talked about the Mean Girls and the X-Men. That's great. That really does do it. It's the what do you call that? The confluence of 2 ideas. Okay, that's the mishmash, and that's a great way of coming up with a plot. You know, people do struggle with coming up with a plot. Yeah. Okay. To the channel. Wanted to write novels, but never did, because why? Didn't know how to plot. Yeah, and didn't learn. Yeah. Limatal is a hexology, a family from a bloodline of angels that ended up fated against each other. Each novel of the 6 has different heroes from the same family but a different generation. 2 novels unpublished and 1 chapbook soon to be self-published. That's Tower Matrixter. Okay. So all I'll say to that is maybe you have the you have the setting, but what is the story? Okay. So a family from a bloodline of angels. Okay, we get who the characters are that ended up fated against each other. That's a bit vague. That's a bit vague. So maybe Tower Matrixter, you have until the end of this stream to be able to succinctly deliver the plot of that novel or the story itself. That's your mission before this stream ends in about, I guess, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I've got to go to work. So it's morning here in London, and there's stuff to do. So to the channel, I just whispered my psychological fantasy. I have the plot, but random details I need to work out. All right. Where is my account? 1 second. Let me see if I've got that. And then tomorrow, or maybe just at the end of the stream, we're gonna have a look at this. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Let me just finish this for 1 sec. Yeah, thank you. It is a somber time here in London, the capital, and all over the UK, and also in all parts of the Commonwealth. I'm a massive royalist. Love the Queen, and condolences to her family, as were given in the stream on Monday. It's actually mad how much support there is, and you know, we can if you are in London, you know, I think it's a good thing to go and pay the respects. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm going to read through this this chapter, or at least this scene between our antagonist and protagonist, and let's see how this is coming together. Tell me what you guys think. I think we've more or less gotten over the first hurdle, and the plot is now about to be developed. So here we go. Hopefully this won't take too long. It's only a couple of pages, so tell me what you guys think. Okay, so our protagonist is called Oliver Sharp, and he's been summoned mysteriously he received a package, a puzzle box with a puzzle box inside, and the package had a note that said, "Be at the Greenbird restaurant. You know, I know why you're here in Japan. I know what you're looking for. Be at the Greenbird restaurant." And now he's turned up at this restaurant, and he's about to walk inside and meet who he's going to meet. So this is what we've got so far. The place was empty, except for one table in the middle of the room. The woman sitting at it looked up at me as I entered. She was young and good-looking, with those long black lashes and sticky red lips. I should have run straight out of there. But two bruisers in cheap black suits stepped up behind me and blocked the entrance. The woman checked her watch and smiled her red lips. She motioned to the seat opposite her, and it wasn't really a question. I glanced at the fire door in the far right of the room. I might not have been as big as the two bruisers behind me, but I was sure as hell faster. I thought about the homeless guy slumped against the dumpster. No doubt these two would trip over him if they tried to chase me. But I wanted answers, so I joined the woman at her table. "There's a story we tell children," she said, speaking in Japanese like she knew I could understand her, "about a troublesome tanuki who plagued an honest farmer for days on end. One day the farmer laid a trap and caught the tanuki. 'Do not untie it,' he told his wife, before I come back from the market tonight. But the farmer's wife was a kindly woman, and the tanuki's hopeless crying soon got to her. She took pity on the little creature, but no sooner did she untie it, did the tanuki kill her, chop her into pieces, and make a soup out of her. The tanuki then shape-shifted into the form of the farmer's wife, and when the farmer came home, the tanuki fed him the soup." The woman snapped her fingers, and from the kitchen came a waiter, who put 2 bowls of steaming soup in front of us. The woman smiled at me. "Go ahead," she said. I glanced at the fire door again. "That's a children's story?" I said, but my feet were dancing under the table. The woman ate a spoon of soup and licked her red lips. "My name is Kyori Matsumoto, Yakuza Captain 18, head of the clan Matsumoto, and she who lays claim to the 4th Ward Shinjuku of the great city, Tokyo." "Oliver Sharp," I said, spooning my own soup. "Troublesome tanuki." I couldn't tell whether that quip got to her because she had about the best poker face I'd ever seen. A flawless complexion like a perfect porcelain doll. She sat tall and upright, all her movements precise, as if choreographed well in advance. I couldn't help watching her red lips glide over her soup spoon. "The puzzle box," she said eventually. I took it out of my pocket and put it on the table, but I said nothing. I wanted her to do all the talking. "The first puzzle boxes were made long ago in Hakone," said Kyori Matsumoto. "A safeguard for personal jewelry and keeping children's fingers from sewing needles. But as their complexity grew, the samurai and ancient warlords began using them to pass their secret messages. I received a similar puzzle box upon my ascendancy to Yakuza Captain." "Yeah, I didn't realize the Japanese mob was so liberal," I said. Kyori Matsumoto fixed me with a look. It was a dangerous game to play, but I'd be damned if I let some woman keep the upper hand. I'd already come running here like a dog, but I could be a Rottweiler when I wanted to. Caveat here, I have no problem with women. That's the character. "It took me 5 weeks to solve that box," she said, and in the corner of my eye I saw one of her bodyguards pull out a gun. "You, Mr. Sharp, will have until I finish my soup." I snorted. "Yeah, nice try, love," I thought, but I wasn't about to play her game, and nor did I have to. her bodyguard wasn't going to shoot me while I was sitting so close to her. So I picked up my spoon and slurped my soup. The bodyguard snarled at me to show some respect, but the 18th captain of the Yakuza refused to be ruffled. I still had a clear path to the fire door, so I decided to test that cool exterior with a bit of shock treatment. I waited until she was down to a last spoonful, and then snapped up my own spoon and smashed it down on the puzzle box, shattering the damn thing and busting open its contents. Solved, I said. Kyori Matsumoto didn't flinch. In fact, I got the impression that it'd take a bomb going off before she might yawn. She glanced at the broken puzzle box, dabbed her lips with her napkin, and turned to her bodyguard. Tell them to serve the fish. The waiter served the next course, which I recognized instantly as fugu, or pufferfish. A single drop of fugu poison can kill an adult. Chefs have to undergo special training to learn how to prepare it. Apparently that makes it a delicacy. Not that I'd ever tried it, seeing as how a single plate runs upwards of $250. Kyori Matsumoto slipped the first sliver between her glistening red lips while I turned my attention to the puzzle box I had smashed. Among the debris lay a fluffy, white rabbit's foot. The farmer had a neighbor, said Kyori Matsumoto, picking up her parable. A crafty rabbit who swore to avenge the wife's death. He befriended the tanuki and invited him one day to harvest grass for the winter. On the way back home, the rabbit set the tanuki's bundle of grass on fire, and when the tanuki asked what the crackling sound was, the rabbit said they were walking on the crackling mountain. When the flames burned the tanuki's back and he was in terrible pain, the crafty rabbit helpfully applied a lotion made of chili powder. The next week, the rabbit invited the wounded tanuki to go fishing. He built a wooden boat for himself and a clay boat for the tanuki. Naturally, it wasn't long before the clay boat began to sink into the lake, and when the tanuki called out to his friend for help, the rabbit only laughed and said, "Now the farmer's wife is avenged." The rabbit then hit the tanuki with his oar, and both the tanuki and the clay boat sank into the lake forever. The farmer was so grateful that he invited the rabbit to live with him, and they became firm friends. My God, I thought. I'd wanted her to do all the talking, but if this Yakuza captain kept speaking in parables, I mean, at least Sabrina would just call me a bastard and be done with it. Sabrina is the ex-wife, for all those who haven't read the first part. Tell me why I'm here, I said plainly. Kyori Matsumoto finished her fugu and placed her cutlery neatly on her empty plate. I have enough tanukis on my farm, Mr. Sharp, she said. What I need is a rabbit. And how about what I need, I said. I never knew a farmer who could grow that. She gave a signal to the kitchen and the waiter came and removed our plates, replacing them with a black basket of what I thought were plums. These are my favourite, said Kyori, fingering the plump fruit. Father took me to Ishikawa to harvest the first vintage, and I've never missed one since. I still remember how his eyes lit up when he talked about the incredible new fruit that he'd helped to produce. The fruits of our labour are sweetened by the sweat of our brow, he used to say. And the ruby Roman grapes are sweet indeed. Each grape weighs over 20 grams and is at least 18% sugar. And that's only the regular class. The premium class, such as these, require each grape to be over 30 grams. Grapes, I said, astonished. Kyori Matsumoto plucked one from the heavy bunch, holding it in a flat palm as she examined its perfection. I stared silently as her red lips softly caressed the hard round ball a split second before her teeth pierced its flesh. A trickle of juice ran down her chin, and she smiled at me as she swallowed. So you see, Mr. Sharp, the soil is rich in Shinjuku. Yeah, I thought, glancing back at the bodyguard who pulled the gun on me, but what's in the compost? How did you know I was in Japan? I asked. Ah, I know everything that goes on in my ward. How do you know what I'm looking for? Then we need a line. Okay, I clenched my jaw. I couldn't believe how poorly I could read her face. Surely she couldn't have known what I was looking for. She hadn't even named it explicitly. Then again, I don't suppose you would if you knew what it was. Either way, I should have run straight out of there. But like I said, I've never been one to make good decisions. Okay, I said. Wonderful, she said. And so the 18th captain of the Yakuza served me tea and told me all about her twin sister, the 7th captain of the Yakuza, whom she wanted me to kill. And that's our plot, right? So that's where we're at. That's where we're at so far with this scene. I just want to add a couple of things here. Serve me tea and grapes. You know, I think that just reads a little bit better. What do you guys think? Is that scene? Does that scene work? Is that scene gripping? Is the subtext coming through? You know, we did spend the past couple of days really droning on about subtext and how important it is. So I think it's working. It's very cryptic. You know what's going on, but we can follow it, right? She's offering him a job. He's obviously got some skills that she needs, and she wants to bring down her sister, all right? And we had this whole thing about the sister, which we're going to refine tomorrow, and then we've basically caught up with everything, right? Okay, thank you to the channel. Have a good night, and I will have a look at your plot which you sent. So maybe next time we'll go through it. All right. So I think this is pretty good for today, and you enjoyed the reading. It's good to hear. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I think this works pretty well. Okay, Town Matrixter has come back with a plot. Let's see how this goes. The Goiretsu family. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm going with that. The Goiretsu family defended God's will to the point of destroying the heavens. Defended God's will to the point of destroying the heavens. Okay. As a result, the angels curse the family with deciding the fate of the world through the repeated birth of blessed twins. The chapbook is a lore dump, a precursor showing how the angel of Gyoretsu fought the other angels to give free will to the world below. Book 1 involves twin boys, Tao and Jiro, separated at birth. Tao must overcome the murder of his mother and realize his purpose as a protector of this world. Okay, some great stuff in there. While Jiro looks to claim the world for himself, Book 2 involves Vashti in her quest to find her only relative, Jiro, only to find Tao in the most villainous state. Tao must be dealt with. Okay, it's a little bit confusing. There's a lot of information. It sounds like you've got a massive plot, which is great. But can you sum up the first book in one sentence? Like a short sentence. A short sentence, let's say in 15 words. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, so the one that I've got here is, you know, we have the 18th captain of the Yakuza told me all about her twin sister, the 7th captain of the Yakuza, whom she wanted me to kill. Okay, we get it, right? We get the plot instantly. This is going to be a thriller. This guy is going to have to go and, you know, get involved with these twin sisters, this rivalry going on within the Yakuza. It's a mob story, but it's set in Japan. So I think Town Matrix, so you've got to have something like that, you know, a short, simple sentence that tells us everything about your plot immediately. And if you've got that, then you can pitch it to an agent, and you can pitch it, and you'll just have a much clearer sense of what you're writing. Now, okay, we're all pantsers, we're not plotters, but even so, at a certain point, we've got to have an idea of where this thing is going. Growing up as nothing, Tao learned the ways of his father, only to find out that there is more to his family. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's definitely better, but it's still it needs a little bit of specificity, okay? Because Tao could be a fish, right? I'm just saying, you know, we don't. It's not quite clear yet. You know, Tao could be, you know, Tao could be anything. Tao could be anything. I mean, I know it's a character name, but what I'm saying is, what kind of a story is it? We understand that it's a story of discovery, but is it a thriller? Where is it set? You know, all those things. This is, and by the way, this is really, really hard to do. So I think refine it again. I'm going to say refine it again. And we're all waiting, all right? We're all waiting. The pressure is totally on you. So it's not really. And of course, you know, it doesn't have to be done today, but you can always go away, have a think about it, and refine it. Because I know, I've been exactly where you are. I know exactly what position you are in. You've got all the story in your head, and it's all up there. You can see it all very clearly. It's just learning how to articulate it to us, so we can see the great image that you have in your head. We can see the same movie that you're seeing. That's the hard part. So articulate it a little bit better. I think that one can go even further. So it's got to be something like, you know, you've got to tell us that this is about angels. I have no idea, just reading that sentence, that this has anything to do with, you know, angels or heaven or things like that. But I want to know that, right? That's what's going to make this. That's what's going to make your pitch, your hook, so much better, right? It's the elevator pitch. All right, so let's go back. So we finished page 7. I think the only thing that this needs to do now. So now that we've stated the plot in this last line, this compelling last line, tomorrow's session, Talmishta, yeah, okay, get back to us when you can. Every day, you know, tune in, and everyone is helping everyone else in this stream. All right, so I'm being, you know, make sure everyone is helping, right? If you're on here, you are a writer and or a storyteller or a lover of stories, and we're all going to help each other get better as writers. But yeah, okay. I think that's good enough for today. Tomorrow we're going to go and try and flesh out this story of the twin sister, exactly what's happening, exactly what's going wrong in the mob. Because if you imagine that this is like the Italian mafia, but just in Japan, that's what the Yakuza is. The last thing that they're going to allow is a war between the factions. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants, you know, these two sisters who are both captains of separate parts of the Yakuza to go head to head, because war is bad for business. And the Yakuza, the Japanese mob, is organized crime. Okay, so, you know, our guy Sharp, he's being, you know, essentially recruited as a secret agent, a deniable asset, a very James Bond type of character. That's what we're gonna work with. He seems to have that same sort of sense about him. He's a bit witty. He's got some wisecracks, and actually he has a problem with women. Which, if you read the first books that Fleming wrote, just read Casino Royale. First, just read it because it's great. Second, actually look at the character of James Bond. It's very different to what is portrayed these days for obvious reasons. Nevertheless, though, we have that's the type of character that I think we have. He's not the Jack Reacher. He's not the big muscle-bound protagonist. He's the slight guy. He's the one with the sharp tongue, the acid tongue, you know, and the quick movements. So he's clever, he's shrewd, he's Mr. Sharp, he's Oliver Sharp. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have this as more of a psychological thriller suspense, and every page we're just trying to make as suspenseful as possible. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. Yeah, just one thing about the previous videos. So I think I've managed to put them all onto the collections tab in Twitch, so they should all be stored there. But I think the first video, day one, I think that already expired, and until I've got up to 50 followers and I'm an affiliate of Twitch, I can't actually re-upload any of the old videos. However, they are on the YouTube channel. Certainly the first 3 days are, so you can go there if you want to have a look at how this novel started, because I'm a pantser. I'm making this up as I go along, just like I did for my first book, Hearing Voices. So if you want to catch up with how this story has been developing so far, and you want to find out more, just go and find that video either on the YouTube channel right before your eyes, or help me get up to 50 followers and reach affiliate status here, so I can re-upload at least that one video. The other videos should be available. Let me know if they're not. Please do send in your own writing and join in the conversation. We're all here to help each other. Tell Matrix that you have homework to do. I have homework to do on this next page. We're starting to get into the psychology of building character backgrounds, which is a lot of fun, but a lot of work. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of research on that tonight, and hopefully tomorrow, when we start again, we're gonna do some good writing, and we'll see where the story goes. Okay, I've got to get to work. So guys, have a great day, night, afternoon, wherever you are, and please do like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, tune in tomorrow when I will continue to write before you.